Big three in Philly to CP3. And his love for the outfit tonight from Victor Oladipo, who is going to love the play from one of the bigger additions, not talked about enough from the offseason, Zeke, and we've talked about it the last couple of weeks, Malcolm Brogdon, who got off hot at 18 in the first half.
Yeah, and Milwaukee is really going to miss Brogdon. I mean, you talk about someone who's a solid player defensively and offensively. I mean, his fundamentals are flawless. The way he's shooting the basketball right now with great confidence. And his leadership. I mean, what the Pacers did to the Thunder tonight, you know, they whacked him pretty good as he came out and really set the tone.
And a chameleon who could score when he needed him to, which we've seen, but also will understand with Oladipo on the floor how to get it done. Speaking of scoring, TJ Warren, note to everyone who's not aware, he can do that. He had 23. Sabonis, Candace, continues to improve almost by the day, it seems.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching Sabonis grow. You know, him and Turner, they solidified that they were going to be their future. And just the way that they're playing around, I think when Oladipo does get back, it's definitely going to boost his game.
Fifth consecutive double-double, Zeke, for Sabonis to 18 and 16. How about this? TJ Leaf out of UCLA. And Victor Oladipo, I'd rather be playing than watching, but if he's watching that, he's okay with it.
Wait, does he have a bag on the... What does he have in the bag on the bench, Casey?
Candy, perhaps?
Candy? Okay.
Extra Halloween candy.
Extra Halloween candy.
I've eaten all mine. None,
we'll go with that.
None at the house remaining. We know this for the Pacers. 7-4, good start. Sabonis is good. This is probably not as good. What is that? Maybe an iPad?
I mean,
what do you think? iPad? Perhaps?
Hey, listen. I'm not going to question it because Oladipo is always dressed nice.
Well, I know.
But I'm going to wear a bag. I'm going to wear a bag up here next.
Apple, not a sponsor, but he clearly couldn't have a Kia in the bag. They don't want to make one that small. Perhaps he is watching center court, back court, front court, and all the different feeds we have. As I feed this over to you, Zeke, when you look at the Pacers and the job Nate did last year, everybody seems to have gotten better. We talked Sabonis. Can he and Turner get them where they need to go as the years develop together? Or do you look at Sabonis and say, well, maybe he's looking like he should be the one of the two? How do you see that?
I think he can be. And the reason why I say he and Turner can play together is because we're seeing them without Oladipo. Once you put Oladipo back on the floor and he gets back up to speed, this is a well-rounded basketball team. When you look at their coaching staff in terms of Popeye Jones, Dan Burke, Nate McMillan, they understand offensive side of the basketball and they understand the defensive side of the basketball. So I expect for them to come back and continue to play strong, and I do think those two can have great success.
And something, Candace, quickly to watch as they get healthier, their depth. The smarts of a McConnell, the scoring of Warren, Lamb. They've got more than most benches are going to have to offer once they get healthy.
I mean, they have more than most benches are going to offer. They have experience, but I really want to go back to Brogdon and how much this is a 50-40-90 type of player that can play defense, that has played winning basketball. I'm a firm believer in having that on your roster if you're building anything. And then you put him with Oladipo, it's going to be special.
Yeah, a lot of basketball IQ and IQ in general there. Speaking of IQ, we give you information about what's in the purse. Maybe we should have somebody investigate that. Perhaps they'll do that on the warm-up, which you can catch up on every single night before we get to you every single night on Game Time. More presented by Kia coming up on the other side.
Football fans, it's your boy 3D for another edition of Shooter's Paradise. I decided to bring a little love into the action, a little inside out. There he is. Let me give you the ball, Kev. How you doing, big fella?
I feel at ease now. I feel good.
Feel good?
Yeah, I feel real good.
Let's take the young viewer back to when you first come into the league, you're in Minnesota, and you had 50 in a game. Take us through that mindset when you get hot.
When I get hot, I mean, sometimes it's, the basket just seems to get bigger and bigger. You're on the pier, you're just throwing that ball into the ocean. For me, my teammates were finding me that night. I can always kind of tell throughout warm-ups how I'm feeling. My legs feel right. Got enough sleep the night before. Got a good meal. So, anytime you're kind of in the zone like that, it just everything else kind of goes to the wayside and you're just out there playing.
When you're in your groove and you're posting up, what are you looking for? Are you waiting to see what the double team's going to bring, or are you just going into your action?
Yeah, a lot of the time I like to face up because I can't shoot the ball. I like to turn and do that little glass shot where there'd be like a Tim Duncan Sigma type move, and then
I like that.
if I like the advantage that I have, I might, take that one dribble and get into the back down. So if I have the advantage, I'll do that. I'll look and see if the double team is coming. I'll either go to that left shoulder hook, I'll go to that right shoulder fadeaway, or I'll, find some type of footwork to get me closer to the basket and give me a good look.
This season, you're off to a fast start. How have you liked playing with the young bull, Colin Sexton, Darius? How are those guys kind of finding you now early in the season? Because you're off to a pretty good start.
Yeah, they're great. They've been great. We've had a couple games to get some really good teams, but we've been right there. I think that's the hardest thing to do when you have such a young team, is figure out how to win in this league. Right. We've had guys like Delly, we've had guys like Tristan, myself, that have won in this league and know how to win in this league. So we're just trying to bring them along and teach them as much as possible. So they've been good. We have a lot of young players. I'm the oldest guy on the team. I'm 12 years old, 31 years old. I'm the old vet. So just trying to be a leader and bring these guys along. But they've been doing a really good job of absorbing the film, having attention to detail, and then just getting the time out there on the floor, because that's the only way you're going to get better is playing.
The game has changed so much. Obviously, I love the three. How do you mix that up, win the post up, and you're shooting the blood out of the ball from three-point range?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a guy that always has played the game from the inside out.
Right.
I know it's a pace and space type of a league, so some of those shots are there to start the game, and it's the best shot you're going to get in the 24 seconds. So you do have to shoot them, but my first few shots are from three, and I don't get to the free throw line. I'll get a nice little touch up close to the basket. More often than not, I'm gonna try to get that going, the next time I sub in. But it's tough in this league because we get up and down so much. The pace is so crazy, and if that shot's there, you have to take it.
Kevin Love, Shooter's Paradise, inside out.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, baby.
All right, DZ, Kevin, thanks for the love, if you will. We go Hawks and Nuggets. Okay, Red, speaking of shooters and Kevin Herter, and did we say, is there ever a better segue in a transition than Shooter's Paradise to Trae Young?
That's crazy. I mean, that is really crazy good how deep and how accurate he shoots the basketball.
His confidence level, and I'm curious both of your takes on this. How about the line he needs to skate and how you've seen him grow in it? Because I know he probably, Candace, drove Lloyd a little nuts early last year because some of the shots were bad because maybe forced. But he's one of those guys where you never know where it's a bad shot because you're like, and then all of a sudden it goes in. What do you need to see about him in those kind of spots with Trae Young?
Well, that's the thing. He said it earlier in an interview. He knew what he had to work on this offseason. When you're coming to your rookie season, you've never been there before, so you don't exactly know what you learned from experience in that first season. And he started off slow, and he adjusted later on in the year and really put up a good fight for Rookie of the Year.
Yes, he did.
And now coming in this year, I think the game has slowed down a little bit better. He said that he worked on his mid-range, which is then going to open up his outside game. And his decision-making. I think he is sharing the wealth a little bit more and understanding how important it is to get his teammates involved early.
The other thing about this team, we talked about this last week, Collins had such a big growth last year. Now, look, it's only 25 games of the whole season, but just after all the good feelings, Zeke, that team was having about the start, as you see yet another.
I was like, did anybody just see that?
Trae Young, who, by the way, wears a number that's familiar in this set. How tough is that, even for Lloyd, to kind of not make that a distraction or a detour from all the good feelings to have the Collins situation come up?
I mean, it's got to be a distraction and a huge letdown, as a teammate and also someone that, from a coach, if you're coaching him, I mean, you depend on him not only from a playing aspect, but, his character in terms of who he is and what he presented. He was someone that you never thought would be involved in a situation like this. So from a teammate standpoint, he's one of your pillars, and now you're into a big part of the season, early in the season, where he's going to be missing, where you're really trying to run off some games, get your confidence and everything else, and one of your pillars, one of your character guys is now missing from the team. Spiritually, emotionally, that's a big hit.
They've had a lot of their young players step up and grow in little ways. And I love some of what we're seeing out of Reddish because, like Herter, who I think is one of those you hear a lot around the league. You guys know this last year. Why, he's a lot better than I thought he was. I didn't realize. Who was that? I didn't realize that. Where did he play? How good is he? Reddish is a guy the other way, almost seemed to have the attention, expectation hurt him more than anything else. And he wasn't Zion and wasn't Barrett. But now he's getting a chance to learn and grow. And you're already seeing that with Cam here first couple of weeks in.
Well, I think that's why you have a guy like a Vince Carter on your team. is to really bring these young guys along. And you see a Hunter, you see a Reddish, you see a Horter, you see even a Trae Young, where you have to understand how important it is to grow a culture and to play a certain way. And I really respect the way Lloyd Pierce has this team playing.
Done a great job.
Because he has established a culture. And you bring over guys, Jones comes over, and slowly but surely you start filling that gap. And I think Collins, although he did, he's out for 25 games, you're still bringing these guys along slowly, and the Hawks really could vie for a playoff position this year.
You mentioned culture, tying the night together, John Beilein, Monty Williams, Lloyd Pierce. Not just about talent, but how much you get out of that talent. We'll try and maximize ours on set, and of course we're talking about these two over here to my left. The other guy here will tell you this. The other game is coming. Dame. He had 60 points. There were teams that only had 20 more than that the last time he played. How does he follow it up against Sacramento? We're taking you to the top of the hour.